If you've reached the age of 20, you've already lived longer than most humans in all of history. You've had more years, more months, more days, more minutes and moments than the majority of people who've ever walked this earth. You've gone through more personal phases, seen more opportunities, and experienced more of life than most humans throughout time. Roughly 117 billion modern humans are estimated to have ever lived. Out of that, around 8 billion are alive right now in 2024. That means about 7% of all the people who've ever existed are currently living today. Over time, humanity's numbers have grown massively, especially in just the last 2 centuries. Back in the year 1800, the global population was just 1 billion. That's 8 times fewer people than there are today. Go back further, about 2 millennia to the year 1 CE, and there were only around 300 million people alive. That's barely more than the number of people added to the world's population in the past 4 years alone, about the same as the current population of Indonesia. Travel even farther back to around 8000 BCE, the start of agriculture, and the global population was only around 5 million, equivalent to the population of present-day St. Petersburg, Russia. Imagine the entire planet holding the same number of people as one modern city. With nearly 10% of all people throughout history living today, it might seem logical to assume that most human beings lived within the last couple of centuries. But that assumption would be completely wrong. According to estimates from the Population Reference Bureau, more than half of all people, approximately 60 billion, lived before the year 100 CE. That's over 2,000 years ago. But how can that be? Today, billions of people are alive at once, and populations in the past were far smaller. How could so many people have lived before the population explosion of recent centuries? The answer lies in life expectancy. For most of human history, people died young. Today, the global average life expectancy is about 73 years. Life expectancy refers to the average number of years a person is projected to live, based on the ages at which people currently die and how many are alive at each age within a population. This measure factors in something called the mortality rate. Essentially, how many people die within a population over a specific time period. For instance, in 2020, the death rate for American men between the ages of 25 and 34 was 221 per 100,000 people. This segment is also sponsored by Opera, the faster, safer, and smarter way to surf the web. Grab it for free via the link in the description below. In 2020, out of every 100,000 American men aged 25 to 34, about 221 lost their lives. Contrast that with infants under 1 year old in the same year. Their mortality rate was 571 per 100,000, over twice as high as for those young adults. Throughout history, child and infant fatalities have always been alarmingly common. Even today, these rates remain high relative to other age groups under 40, yet they pale compared to pre-modern eras. As author Yuval Noah Harari notes in *Sapiens*, once people settled into disease-ridden farming villages, relying on grain instead of breast milk and competing with siblings for every morsel, child deaths skyrocketed. In those agricultural communities, at least 1 in 3 children failed to reach their 20th birthday. According to the Human Mortality Database, in 1750, Bavaria, just 275 years ago, half of all children perished before turning 15. Go back another 2 millennia to Roman Egypt around 1 CE, and nearly 60% of youngsters didn't survive past 15. Back then, dying in childhood or infancy was not an exception, but the rule. Those sky-high mortality rates dragged average life expectancy down to as little as 10 years in some places, keeping population numbers low. It wasn't because people weren't having babies. On the contrary, birth rates were enormous, often 5 times higher than today. In 1750, Bavaria, a typical woman bore 5 to 7 children, whereas modern German women average only 1 to 2. In the pre-industrial world, having 4 to 7 children was commonplace. But since most of those children didn't survive, communities struggled to outpace death rates, and populations barely grew. Because of that brutal reality, billions of lives were both fleeting and far back in time. Fast forward to now, and thanks to global health initiatives, medical breakthroughs, technology, and scientific understanding, the child mortality rate for those 15 and under hovers around 4% worldwide. As mentioned, average global life expectancy is about 73 years. Most newborns survive childhood. Most adults live into their 70s, and many of us will enjoy 50 to 60 more years of life than the vast majority of humans who've ever lived. In the grand sweep of human history, none of this longevity was guaranteed. Simply reaching adulthood, let alone living decades longer, was extraordinary. Early death in antiquity was far more common than reaching middle age. By surviving into our 70s, we join a tiny fraction of humans across time. Half of all people who've ever existed never saw mechanical clocks, toilet paper, eyeglasses, playing cards, the printing press, pianos, electricity, or even soda. Yet here we are, witnesses to a world shaped by centuries of innovation, granted a lifetime of experiences our ancestors could scarcely imagine. This video is brought to you by Opera, the quicker, safer, and more intelligent way to navigate the web. Download it for free through the link in the description below. Think about it. Engines, cars, aircraft, rockets, buttons, the solar system, galaxies, the rise of Christianity, Islam, and atheism, the theory of gravity and space-time, touchscreens, video games, and so much more. These are all experiences and concepts that the majority of people throughout human history never encountered. It's staggering to realize that over half of everyone who has ever lived likely never learned to read or write. They probably had no say in where they lived or what kind of life they led, which usually meant farming in the place where they were born. Most humans to ever exist never knew what it was like to be 20 years old, let alone 30, 40, or 50. To exist at all is already an incredible stroke of luck. To exist as a human being is an even rarer marvel. But to exist now, in this moment, in this chapter of human history, with access to the experiences and longevity we now enjoy, that's a miracle beyond words. We're witnessing things once thought unimaginable, brought into reality by sheer human will, innovation, courage, and sometimes, yes, ignorance. But nonetheless, here we are. For better or worse, the proof of human potential is all around us. Every 30-something flying to a vacation spot, watching films in mid-air, casually aware of how gravity works, understanding the sun's mechanics, knowing the events happening in countries they pass over. These people are miracles themselves. With a credit card and health insurance tucked in their pockets, they can treat ailments that would have been a death sentence to most of our ancestors. These aren't fantasies. These are real people, living examples of how far humanity has come. Miracles exist, and they are forged by the minds and hands of humans. We've shaped this world with our effort and imagination, and now we, the unlikely inheritors of all this, reap the benefits of what previous generations built. And yet, we often dismiss or waste what we've been given. There are certainly valid criticisms to be made and reasons to feel disillusioned. But every now and then, it's worth stepping back to realize just how astonishing it is to be here at all. Not only to be alive, not only to be conscious, but to live in an age where many of us will likely see 30, 40, 50, even 100 years. We can track time down to the second. We wipe with soft paper. We wear glasses to see clearly, play card games with friends, publish books, enjoy live piano music, flip lights on and off, drink carbonated beverages, drive across cities, fly across continents, launch rockets, press buttons, study the depths of space and mind, and share thoughts like these with people across the world in an instant. We built all of it, from the soil beneath us and the thoughts within us. From virtually nothing, we woke into this world and said, "This isn't enough. Let's make something better." The earth became fertile ground for invention, and humans became both the sowers and the harvesters, of wonders and, yes, of destruction too. We've damaged the planet and ourselves in the process. But maybe, just maybe, our next great advancement won't just be another tool. It will be the wisdom to use our tools more wisely. Perhaps we'll not only live long, impressive lives, but truly good ones too. As Yuval Noah Harari writes, humanity's next ambitions are likely to be immortality, happiness, and godhood. With the threats of starvation, disease, and violence reduced, we now aim to conquer aging and death. With suffering pushed back, we strive for true joy, and having lifted ourselves above survival, we now look to transcend. Never before in human history has so much knowledge, media, and power been accessible to so many. At the tap of a screen, we can now do and learn more than past civilizations even dreamed possible. Whether you're working, studying, or just exploring the internet, your browser is one of your most essential tools. But standard browsers often become cluttered and chaotic, slowing you down. That's where Opera comes in. Opera turns browsing into a smoother, safer, and more productive experience with a beautifully designed interface and features that streamline everything. Managing multiple tabs and windows is a part of modern life. But with Opera, you can group your tabs into tab islands based on context, then shrink them down into color-coded clusters for a cleaner workspace. You can also separate tabs into customizable workspaces and switch between them instantly using the sidebar. This makes multitasking and staying organized effortless. With Opera's built-in AI, Aria, your efficiency levels up even more. Ask it any question and receive instant, clear responses. Highlight any term on a web page, and Aria can break it down for you. Want a summary of a full page? Just press Ctrl or Command +/, and Aria will summarize it right away. It's a powerful research companion that keeps you moving forward instead of getting stuck. Even more impressive? Aria can analyze images too. Just upload a photo, and it can tell you more about what's in it, such as the name of a building or landmark. And that's just the beginning. Opera includes loads of premium features, without the need for any extra extensions or fees. It has a built-in VPN for private browsing, an ad blocker for distraction-free reading, and a dynamic sidebar where you can access your music, messaging apps, and social media, all without switching tabs. Opera is more secure, more feature-rich, more visually appealing, and easier to navigate than standard browsers, and it's completely free to try with the link in the description. It's a smart choice for your brain, and a lot less stressful to use.